Hello everyone, I am back. I know it's been more than a week since my last video, which is unusual. I usually try to pop on here about twice a week, if not more. And so I'm really happy to be here with you today, and hopefully you won't hear my new puppy. That's been part of the thing that's kept me from recording as freely. He's down in his crate, safe, and my daughter's going to be attending to him pretty soon, but you might hear him cry a little downstairs. So don't worry, he's going to be taken care of. He's fine, he's safe. So I'm here today because I want to talk about that creative spirit, part of that creative characteristic that we all, or most of us probably share. It's a common creative characteristic. And when it's time to manage that. And so I have been interested in personal development for more than 30 years and coaching creatives for 20 years. 20 years of coaching creatives, certified for the past 10 years. And so making it official. And one thing that I've noticed about myself as a creative and other creative people is that we tend to have that desire to perfect things, right? We want to do more. We want to be better at our craft. We want to, if you think of Apollo, who's one of the gods of creativity, he's an archer. So he sees that target out there and he's trying to constantly hit the bullseye. And that's what creatives are often like, trying to hit that bullseye, trying to do better, be better, do more, right? And for me especially, I'm the type of person that if something is broken, I know from that personal development standpoint, I know I can fix it. And I want to jump in there and just take control and do it and make it better. Let me tell you where that leads, at least where it led me. So I have a tendency to really push myself. Like I said, if something's not right, I want to get in there and fix it and drive it to be better and do better. And what that actually led me to was adrenal fatigue, pretty severe adrenal fatigue that started around the time, the hormonal imbalance started around the time I was 30. And then I proceeded to have a 10-year spiral down into adrenal fatigue, not really knowing what was happening. I had my baby in there, and so there was, you know, all parents are tired, new parents, so there was sort of that part of it, and really ended up in a place where it's a constant thing that I need to be aware of. My adrenals are doing pretty well now, but I need to do what I can to support them. And what happens when I move into that fatigued space is that I actually go into a depressive mode. So I have had cycles of depression, and my worst one being ending about a year and a half ago, where I had a 5-month cycle of depression. So what I learned from that depression is that I can't always fix it and make it better and push to do better, especially when you're fatigued and depressed. You don't have the gas. You just don't have the gas. And I really do believe that push and that drive is a huge contributor to why I ended up that way in the first place. So fortunately, yes, I have sought treatment for my depression, and I take care of my diet for my depression and bioidentical hormones to help with the adrenal fatigue issues and balance out all the other hormones. So I certainly have done my part to do better, be more well. Yet there is a time when you just have to surrender. And why this is on my mind right now, one thing is we've got the new puppy, but I had a friend who messaged me last week, and she's a friend who is working 2 jobs. One of her jobs is that she's a teacher, so she's just gone back to school after break, and she works 2 jobs. Plus she's got her own business that she's been working on in the past year. Plus she has a new marriage. Plus she has a toddler that she has. So she's in this space where she's like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm feeling negative. I'm feeling unloved. What is wrong with me? So she, like me and a lot of other creatives, is going, what is wrong with me? So I can fix it. I need to fix this, right? And what I wrote, hi, Michelle, welcome. So glad that you could join me live. So what I have found is sometimes it's not about how can I fix this. It's about surrendering. Surrendering. And I want to explain a little bit about what that means to me, because I hated that word. It's a part of personal development or spirituality that you hear. You must just surrender. You must just surrender. Thy will be done, right? Surrender. And for someone, hi Judy, welcome. Good to see you again too. I know I've seen you on some lives as well. So what does it mean to surrender? And again, I hated that word. It feels out of control to me. What does it mean to surrender? Well, what I've learned in some of my, especially the last several periods of depression that I'd had, is yes, to take care of myself. So it's not about rolling over and giving up. Surrender isn't about giving up. But what I learned, especially in the last one, is to sort of go with the flow. Surrender is about going with the flow and not fighting against it. Because when you add that energy of fighting against it, it just makes things worse. So I recommended to my friend that she surrender. So how do you know when it's time to surrender? It might mean that you're feeling extremely overwhelmed, like my friend. You're trying to prove yourself. You're trying to control things. That's the big one for me, right? You're trying to do things so that you're more accepted, more loved. You're trying to be more safe, more secure, and you are determined and so driven, but it's not coming from that place of inspiration and motivation. It's coming from that place of desperation. So surrendering looks like, now I've mentioned this before, I have a special technique that I work with my private clients on to release the energy behind that, because we want to first of all get rid of that energy that's in us that's making us feel like, oh, I've got to fix this, I've got to change this, that desperate energy. I must cling to security. I must cling to trying to prove myself. So I have a technique that I do around that. If you're interested in learning that technique, I've had a lot of interest in that, so I'm thinking of putting on a special class to teach that technique outside of my private clients. So if you're interested in that, please leave a comment so that I know you're on board. If I have enough people interested, I will do that training. And of course, if you let me know that you're interested, I will put you on the list and tag you so that you know that that's getting ready to be released. So part of it's about getting rid of that energy. Now, if you don't have a special technique like I obviously like mine, it works really well. Can you go for a walk? Can you exercise? Can you meditate? Can you, beat your pillow with a racket? Got it, Michelle. I'll put you on the list. What can you do to get rid of that energy that's in you, to release that energy? And then the surrender part, again, like I said, it's not about giving up, like rolling over and die. Okay, fine. But it's actually a shift in mindset. So it looks like this. When I was in my depression, especially that last one that lasted 5 months, I got myself to my doctors. You know, I did take care of what I needed to do. I got myself moving in the right direction. And then I said, okay, what if this is as good as it gets? What if this is as good as it gets? What if I'm never going to feel as energetic and as vibrant and as joyful as I once did? Okay, so what if this is it? What then do I do to adjust to that? What do I do to make my life have meaning, have value? So it's not from a fix it, even though it's still sort of a, you know, I'm still looking for the answer, the action. It's not that desperate clinging, I have to change this, I have to control this energy. It's, this is how it is. How can I subtly adjust myself to be at peace with this reality that I'm in now? To be at peace in this reality so that I can listen to my inner guidance, so that I can love myself through this, so that I can connect to my source and get the messages, get the learning, get the, quote, answer that I need to not only come to peace with this, but then eventually to have the expansion occur. Because we know in the world there's expansion and contraction. That's just part of the human cycle. So sometimes when you're in the contraction, and that contraction is tight, and you're trying to control it, and you're trying to prove yourself, and you're trying to find love and acceptance, and you're trying to find safety and security, that just creates more tightness in that contraction. And what you want to do is surrender, to accept where you're at, to come to that peace of where you're at, so that tension can release, and so that you can be ready to hear the calling for the next expansion. Not fighting the contraction, but to be that in that space of surrender. So I hope this has served you. I hope this has helped you. I know some of the things I talk about are really sort of these top level concepts. I do work with private clients on the techniques and the strategies to do that. And yet sometimes I know it can be nebulous to talk about surrender and abundance. And yet it's what I love to talk about. And I know that you love to talk about these things too. That's why you're in this group. So if you're in that place of contraction right now, ask yourself if it's time to come to peace with it. Not accepting it, not saying, okay, this truly is what it's going to be like forever, but to go, this is what it's like now. And just hypothetically, if this is as good as it gets, how do I have peace and a level of joy and a level of self-love while I'm in this space? So again, I hope I've been of service to you. If you're interested in this class, Michelle, I've got you down. If you're interested in this class, please let me know in the comments so that I can put you on the list and know that there's enough interest. I love responding. It really serves me. Part of my process is to be able to respond to what you need. So hearing that this class is important to you really helps give me direction. And also, I'd love to hear if you have any insights. If you've experienced this same type of thing and surrendered to something in your life, I'd love to hear that. Any of those types of comments, I love to hear from you. So thank you for watching. I hope I've been of service to you. And just remember, it's all about being yourself, loving yourself where you're at right now, so that you can express that authentic you and share your spark with the world. So bye-bye, everyone. I'll catch you on the next video.